Lately, Max Verstappen has been the centre of attention in Formula One after he hinted at an early retirement due to the FIA penalising him for using bad language during press conferences. As a three-time world champion, Max feels he's hit his limit with the sport. Instead of enjoying his success, he's facing constant issues with the FIA. With the addition of more sprint races, will this influence Max to quit Formula One sooner than expected? And if he does, will the FIA make changes to prevent other young drivers from following suit? Max seems particularly fed up with the FIA's strict no swearing rule. Although he's been the most vocal critic, he's definitely not the only driver to let a curse word slip under the intense pressure and adrenaline of racing. He insists that these outbursts are never personal. After his protest against the FIA's press conference, he answered questions from reporters outside the room. One question, in particular, grabbed more attention than the rest. Could these actions by the governing body influence Verstappen's future in the sport? According to the three-time world champion, the answer is definitely yes. He's shared, absolutely. These issues certainly shape my future too. You can't just be yourself when you have to handle such annoying matters constantly. At this point in my career, I really don't want to put up with this all the time. It gets exhausting, sure. Achieving success and winning races is fantastic, but after conquering championships and races, you also want to enjoy yourself a bit. Everyone is giving their all in this competition, even those at the back of the pack. But dealing with trivial issues like these can put a damper on things. We've been hearing that Verstappen might retire early, which has upset many Formula One fans. Regardless of how you feel about him dominating the sport recently, it's clear he's a special talent we might not see again soon. All the F1 drivers have shown their support for Verstappen, raising a ruckus in their shared WhatsApp group about whether he should do the community service penalty he got. This shows their unity. The FIA can't penalise all drivers for using strong language occasionally. Verstappen has voiced his displeasure with the FIA's decisions. Besides holding his own press conferences outside the FIA's rooms and at Red Bull's hospitality, he started giving brief and pointed answers to FIA inquiries. When asked why, he sarcastically said, "I find it ridiculous what happened, so why should I then give full answers? It's really easy to get fined or penalised for what you say, so I prefer to keep quiet and do interviews elsewhere." This issue sparked an intriguing debate in the cool-down room after the Singapore Grand Prix. Piastri asked Norris how he felt about nearly hitting the barrier with his front wing, but he had to respond without swearing. This topic might be discussed for quite a while now. While fans might find this humorous, it's not as amusing for Verstappen and Red Bull. Adding to the tension, Verstappen has hinted at retiring in the next few years. He mentioned that he and Ricciardo could look back and laugh at their careers once they're done with the sport. This raises a big question: should the FIA allow drivers to race without everything they say being broadcasted? Verstappen himself suggested that not everything needs to be aired, noting that in other sports, athletes aren't constantly mic'd up. He pointed out that while everyone swears to some extent, not all of it needs to be shared with the public, and straightforward abuse is different from casual swearing. In many sports, athletes say things they might regret when their adrenaline is pumping, but those moments often go unnoticed. In our sport though, those intense outbursts are often shared with the public, partly for entertainment. It's just a part of our modern world. One solution could be simply not broadcasting those comments or making it so people can't hear them. However, the FIA president had a different take. He argued that the governing body actually encourages more broadcasting. Why? Because it helps fans understand what's happening with the drivers and teams. If we didn't have access to these radio communications, we'd miss out on crucial info about things like tyre wear, car performance and team strategies. The risk of occasionally hearing some foul language seems a fair trade-off for staying in the loop on these important details. When discussing the issue of banning broadcasts with foul language, Ben Salem emphasised that they can limit the use of team radio with bad words on TV, and they are actively doing that. "We were the ones who approved more radio communication on TV," he said. "But we have rules for the good of the sport. These rules need to be enforced and respected." He highlighted the difference between motorsport and rap music, stating, "We're not rappers who use the F word multiple times a minute. That's their thing and this is ours." Coming from a man who has enjoyed a long career in racing, winning the Middle East Rally Championship 14 times, Ben is confident that drivers can control their language in certain situations. The comparison to rappers made some current F1 drivers quite upset, especially Lewis Hamilton. He pointed out the racial undertones in the FIA president's comments. Hamilton has more issues with Ben Salem, particularly after the jewellery ban and the Susie Wolff controversy. The 7-time world champion shared, "When I was 22, I didn't overthink things. Emotions ran high and you'd say what came to mind, forgetting how many people, including kids, were listening." So I understand that part. Some other drivers haven't grasped this yet, but they will eventually. However, I really disliked his choice of words. Referring to rappers is very stereotypical, and considering most rappers are black, it subtly implies something negative about us. I believe his words were poorly chosen. There's a hint of racial dynamics here. Hamilton has shown a lot of support for Verstappen, which is notable in today's sports world. He mentioned that if he were given a community service penalty, he definitely wouldn't accept it. This makes sense, especially when we look back to 2023 and see how Hamilton challenged the FIA over the jewellery ban, a rule the governing body argued was for safety reasons in case of crashes. However, Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, didn't immediately comply. Currently, the FIA is firm about reducing the use of swear words, but even drivers like Norris, who doesn't swear much, feel that this would affect the sport's popularity and authenticity. After all, these reactions are pure emotions and an integral part of the Formula One experience. With all this in mind, do you think Verstappen might be driven to retire because of the FIA's statements and penalties against him? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.